So it's once again the start of another throwback rotation expansion, probably the last throwback rotation expansion for most of us here, because we'll be moving on to Worlds Beyond. And coincidentally, it also happens to be the first ever expansion I started the game in, so it's sort of like a beginning and end for me, I guess. And of course, being the expansion that I first started in, what better way to start off the expansion with but with a video of the deck that I first got Grandmaster with. So of course, as a sword main, it was a sword deck, so we're really looking at some rally sword gameplay. So let's look at the deck we're playing for today. So this is the list we're playing for today. It's mostly pretty straightforward stuff. You just use a bunch of your early game cards to rally, and then after that you use Erica as a finisher, and then you also have the huge powerful effects of Musketeer's Vow and Monochrome endgame for your mid game. So it's a pretty straightforward mid-range deck, as mid-rangey as it gets, in fact. The interesting about this deck is that aside from like two decks, it has like a decent matchup into every other deck, so you can actually climb pretty fast with this. So this list we're playing for today, obviously it's a very expensive list, so I guess keep that in mind. Now there are some modifications you can make. I ran Kagemitsu here as a heck. You can run whatever you need depending on the matchups you're facing. If you need you're facing a lot of Sword and Puppet and Ward Haven for some reason, you can switch over to Leod. You can also consider Octris. You can consider Coronation, in fact, if you really hate people who board lock you. And you can probably run less copies of Royal Summons too if you want. So yeah, those are mainly the modifications for this deck. So yeah, this is the list we're playing for today. Let's look at some games. Our first game here is against Haven, and we are going second. Haven is probably Ward Haven, although it seems like you have a bad matchup because they have a lot of wards, and it is like maybe slightly unfavored, but I think it's fairly manageable. Going first is definitely helpful though, so unfortunately we are going second here, which is not as ideal, but if we can pick out a Metatron, we can recover. For the mulligan, for most matchups, Bunkin, Recruit, Wayfaring Goblin, Victoria's Blader, and Metatron going second is pretty safe. Depending on certain matchups, you might want to keep some other cards, but we'll talk about that a bit later. For now, your early game is very straightforward. You just need to advance your rally count. Corpse Master, thankfully, even though drawing an Invoke is not great, at least she does something when you draw her, so not too bad. It's not like great either, but like, I guess it's not too bad. So we'll just go ahead and accelerate the Corpse Master here. Corpse Master is very hard to find time to accelerate past turn 3, so doing it on turn 3 here while we have time is fine. You see my opponent is following their Ward Haven game plan of lining up wards. And we pick up Metatron off the top here, which is very nice. We can go ahead and just evolve that Metatron to a ramp. And then we just gotta take down our opponent's more threatening followers. Camilla is annoying because she can buff the board, and then Slatra just has the highest attack, so we go for those. And then just accelerate Victoria's Blader for rally count. There are some matchups where keeping Blader is important. This is not one of them. Most decks in this format have some kind of hard removal for Victoria's Blader, so it's not super ideal to keep it, but yeah, so in this case, they have stuff like Jupiter and Wilbert, so it's not really worth trying to get the main body for Victoria's Blader to stick, so they don't bother. Then you go ahead and go for the Enhanced Monochrome here, which is one of our very strong plays. And we just try to maintain a board presence here by keeping our followers alive, and we save the evil point. At this point, we have another Monochrome endgame. It's very likely we can save our evil point, so we can drop an Enhanced 8 Musketeer's Vow on turn 8. Normally against Ward Haven, you use Erica's Killer Instincts to deny them Holy Saber, but since we can get away with Enhanced Musketeer with 2 evil points, we can probably just look for that instead. At this time, we'll just go ahead and draw Monochrome. Engrave Monochrome does a few things. Number one, it's just a pretty strong tempo. I guess it summons a bunch of very strong followers. Gets commanders as well as evil count for our Kagemitsu and the Luminous Knight. Unfortunately, because Holy Saber blocks effect damage, neither Kagemitsu nor Luminous Knight are super useful, but you never know, maybe they just don't have Holy Saber. So we play the Glistering Angel as well as the Diablo Tina. We don't have any Corpse Masters anyway, so it doesn't really matter that they denied the Invoke. And you can see they will now have enough evolves for Holy Saber, so we do have to watch out for that. Go ahead and make some space here for the Enhanced Musketeer. And then we can go ahead and trade and just hit them in the face and just heal up a bit. We don't Evo here because there is a chance we can play another Musketeers next turn if we don't have lethal next turn. This is my opponent's Wheelbarrow, which will get rid of my Aramis, which is unfortunate. They drop a Temple Healer as well, and Empyrean Unicorn, so they do have a full board here to evolve with their Holiness Decree. But thankfully my board is so solid they probably have to spend all their followers trading anyway, so we don't really care. We do have lethal here, so we can just do that, but if we didn't have lethal, we could just do other things. But here, the classic Musketeers Vow lethal, this is a pattern that you should remember. Erica plus Musketeers Vow. To summon the Aramis plus the Dartigan. Trade off the Steelclad Knife for board space here. You can go ahead and evolve the Erica. Here we trade the Banking Recruit, we don't really need to, but might as well get maximum damage out of it. And then we can play Erica Slide, and Aramis will buff both of these Quick Bladers as well for even more damage. You can trade off the Aramis here for a lot of damage. So yeah, that's it for this game. So our next game here is going second against Shadow once again. Remember when I said this deck has like 2 bad matchups? Shadow is one of them. The other one is Ladica Forest. These 2 decks are like very difficult to beat if you don't get lucky, or rather if your opponent doesn't draw well. So I mean, if your opponent draws properly, they can usually win, so this is not great. Especially going second makes it even harder to win. I think Latica's a bit worse though than the Flame and Glass Shadow, so we have that going for us, I guess, which is nice. Opponent drops the in-goes Hound to draw into their deck, and then uses Corral Souls. And they do trade, which is, I guess, good for us. Maybe we'll have less damage coming to our face. So this is where the bane of our existence, Rulanai, becomes a problem, because Rulanai is a 3-cost follower. One Rulanai alone basically loses you the game, so we have to deny that Rulanai as long as we can, so we go ahead and drop Guiding Bellringer Angel. They trade Rulanai into this, it doesn't get to destroy itself, so that's what we're going for here. Opponent drops their own Bellringer, which is fine. We can go ahead and hide a Queen Magnus behind it. We need to pressure their face as much as possible so we can try to finish them off. Because if we allow them to get a late game, we just cannot stop them anymore. So we go ahead and hide the Magnus here. They should be unable to clear this Bellringer, I hope. So they shouldn't be able to get to this Magnus either. My opponent does have Rulanai here. Maybe they top decked it or something, but it doesn't die to my Bellringer, so they don't get the last words quite yet. And they will use the Call of the Great Arm as well. So we go ahead and buff the Magnus with Bat Catha, and Bat Catha will also get a Rush, which is very nice. Pick up Banking Recruit here, we can go ahead and use that to draw into our deck as well with Rush. Corpse Master isn't great, but it's fine. And we just Evil Face here. Again, we just want to pressure their face as much as possible. And then we draw away Wayfaring Goblin just for some rally count, I guess. We do have access to Royal Summon, so we can look towards Taketsumi. We also have double Erica in hand, so turn 6, that might be our lethal pattern if we can chip them down enough and if they don't heal. Double Erica is 5 plus an Evo 7, and then plus their 2 their double Killer Instincts is 11 damage. We'll probably not reach Rally 15 by turn 6, so we don't have to count the Quick Bladers, but we have 11 damage starting next turn, so we just need to pressure their face as much as possible. We can play the Musketeer's Vow. Here we do go into range of Angel's Blessing for them, which is a bit unfortunate, but maybe we can... I mean, if they only have one Angel's Blessing, they don't heal out of double Erica range, so we do have that going for us. But unfortunately, they do have Gilnelis here, so they will heal a bunch as well as clearing my followers. And then we'll have Rulanai as well to clear our board, because Rulanai is the bane of Swordcraft's existence. Scream Diffusion is fine. At this point, it looks pretty bad for us, but we actually have a pretty solid out, which is double Erica plus Steelclad Luminous Knight. It's actually an OTK, so we just have to set up that. We can play 2 Luminous Knights here, and then pick up our last Luminous Knight for 1 cost, and pick up the Taketsumi as well. We can get Evil Point back, and then we pick up a 0-cost Hero of the Hunt. This is in case they have a ward or something like a Bellringer or something that we need the Hero of the Hunt for. And also putting a more sturdy board here entices them to clear my board or they will die because they're quite low already. There's Extreme Diffusion. They use Suzy as well. Thankfully they don't have Gilnalise, although I think we killed them through Gilnalise anyway, but yeah, they just didn't have Gilnalise. And there's Spirit Invasion as well to advance their shadow count as well as chip me down, I guess. And then they go ahead and use Corel Souls to draw even more into their deck as well. But unfortunately for them, they are super dead because we have enough rally. So Erica, the good thing about Erica is that her rally 15 effect is on evil, so you can play more followers first. So draw double Erica as well as the Luminous Knight. And then we can just do the standard combo. This is 20 damage, OTK, so... Well, it's OTK if you have a trade target for the Quick Bladers. I should clarify, I guess. If you the Quick Bladers and play Killer Instincts, then it's an OTK. Our last game here is against Blood and we're going second once again, I guess. I don't know why it's all going second, but... the reason why I say Blood for last is because it has a very, very strange matchup and gameplay style because of the existence of handlers, which is what we expect our enemy to be. Of course, it could be mono as well. Honestly, the problem with mulliganing against Blood is that you don't know if they're mono or handlers. Usually, I just mulligan like it's handlers. And then the key to beating handlers is Musketeer's Vow and Victoria's Blader. If you're going second, of course, Metatron is still valuable. So we definitely want to avoid letting them invoke Paracelese for as long as possible. So contrary to the standard rally game plan, we actually just pass turns here. Take a bunch of damage here, but hopefully we can pick up Musketeer's Vow to heal off. Once we can make it the Victoria's Blader, we just win the game, basically, so that's fine. Again, we just pass here, don't give them a target to play Room Service on in case they manage to empty their hand that way. Unfortunately, my opponent just does draw a lot of damage, so we take a bunch of damage here. But we did pick up Monochrome endgame, so hopefully we can come back from it. We're going to evolve Metatron, of course, to ramp into Monochrome next turn. And at this point, since we do have a follower, we might as well line up more followers. We can take this opportunity to get our Bumpkin recruits out so we can cycle them for more draw. Don't use a Sanguine Slash here, which is fine, it doesn't deal much damage, and it doesn't empty their hand either. We are in room service range though, so we have to watch out for that. They will hit us in the face here. Thankfully we do have Monochrome here, so we go ahead and play that for Enhance. And then we can go ahead and trade Magnus. We can play a Wayfaring Goblin and evolve it to heal out of room service range, which is good. So yeah, as you can see, the Blood matchup here is very much built around surviving until you can drop Victoria's Blader's main body. Ideally, you can also protect it behind a ward, but yeah. They're just Scorpion of the Depths, which is fine. We don't want them hitting our Victoria's Blader there, so we rather them hit inconsequential followers. And of course, we just drop Victoria's Blader here because they have no good ways to clear it. They do have ways, just no good ones. And then we just carefully keep them out of Vengeance range. I forgot Paracelese will heal them here, so actually I could have hit them one more time, but I keep them out of Vengeance range to prevent any weird things from happening. And then as you can see here, my opponent couldn't answer my board, so they just concede. So that's it for this game. So those are all the games I have for you today. Hopefully it gave you some idea of how this deck is played. It's honestly a very straightforward deck if you want to just climb. You don't have to think that much either, because again, it's pretty straightforward. Just play stuff on curve and punch your opponent in the face until they die. You do have to learn Erica math though, which I'm used to it because I played her for quite a while, but I mean, if you're not used to it, it takes some practice, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that's it for today's video. If you like the deck, if you like the deck and you have most of these cards, go ahead. It is a very expensive deck, but then again, throwback rotation, the game's ending soon, so like maybe you don't care if you spend all your vows. I think it's a very fun deck. Yeah, so yeah, and it's definitely strong enough to climb as well. I've definitely climbed a decent amount. Haven't dropped too many games either, so yeah, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.